So that 49ers game, huh? If it feels like we've seen this before, we're not alone.
Yeah, that seems to be the sentiment. A lot of here we go again vibes.
10-point lead going into the fourth, and then it's enough to make you wonder if someone hit rewind on last season. But you know what? Our listeners, they get it. They asked for a deep dive on this, and we're going deep. We're talking beyond the highlights, beyond the usual sports chatter.
Right, because everyone's got an opinion, but we're digging into the analysis. The expert takes you sent our way.
Exactly. So let's cut to the chase. Deja vu aside, where do we even start unpacking this?
Well, the word on everyone's mind, everyone's keyboard, is red zone, and not in a good way.
Yeah, that's been hard to ignore.
It's almost ironic. Statistically, they're fantastic at getting there, to the red zone. But once they're there, it's like someone flipped a switch.
All that effort for a field goal, even with a comfy lead, that's playing with fire.
And fire, well, the analysts are not holding back, calling their red zone conversion rate alarmingly low.
Among the worst in the league, right? Ouch. So who or what is to blame here? Is it the play calling, the execution, a bit of both? What's the deal with Brock Purdy's performance in all this?
Purdy's an interesting one. Flashes of brilliance, absolutely, but the inconsistency is a big talking point. One thing that jumps out from the articles you shared is this tendency to hold on to the ball too long.
Yeah, which led to some brutal sacks.
Drive-killing sack.
So is that just a Purdy thing, or did the Cardinals figure out how to exploit that?
Now that's the million-dollar question. Some experts seem to think the Cardinals knew exactly what they were doing, schemed specifically to pressure him, force those mistakes.
So it's a strategy thing, potentially.
Could be. And it plays into this larger conversation about Purdy's decision-making under pressure, especially late in the game.
And it's like those moments, where you think, this is it, the 49ers are back, like that blocked field goal return for a touchdown. Talk about a momentum shift.
Absolutely, those flashes of brilliance, the reminders of what this team can do.
But then the momentum swings the other way. Turnovers, missed opportunities.
Exactly, the highs and lows, that's what's got people scratching their heads, the inconsistency.
Right, it's like they couldn't quite put it all together for a full 4 quarters. And, speaking of not quite showing up, I got asked about the defense. They usually show up ready to dominate. What happened with Kyler Murray and that Cardinals offense? Were they caught off guard?
Murray's mobility is always a challenge.
That's putting it mildly. He was like a magician out there.
Right, and the articles you sent, they pointed out how the Cardinals used a lot of those read option plays.
Ah, so it's like trying to guess which way a coin will land.
Pretty much. Puts the defense in a bind, having to defend two potential plays at once.
No wonder it seemed like they were always a step behind.
And it makes you wonder, if we're talking about exploiting playing styles like we were with Purdy, is that what happened here too? Did the Cardinals' offense with Murray at the helm kind of expose some weaknesses in the 49ers defense?
That's like a game of chess, but with way higher stakes.
Yeah.
And speaking of strategy, we can't ignore the coaching decisions, or some might say, the lack thereof. Fans were not shy about that,
Yeah, the coaching is always a hot topic.
to put it mildly. But seriously, did the Cardinals just completely outsmart the 49ers in the coaching department?
It's tough to say for sure based on just one game. But some of the analysis you shared did point out the lack of in-game adjustments, especially on defense, as a potential factor.
Like they had a plan, but didn't adapt when things started to unravel.
Right, and whether that's on the coaches or the players not executing or a bit of both.
It's the million-dollar question.
Exactly. And then just to add another layer of complexity, you've got the injuries.
Oh, right. Losing your kicker, Jake Moody, in a game that comes down to field goals. Talk about a gut punch.
Brutal. And it really highlights the importance of depth, especially this early in the season. And Moody's dealing with that ankle sprain, which for a kicker can be a lingering thing.
Yeah, not ideal at all. And then there's Talanoa Hufanga going down with a wrist injury. That's a big one.
Huge. He's such a key part of that defense.
So not only are they dealing with the strategic puzzle, but now they're missing key pieces.
It's a real test of their adaptability and resilience, that's for sure.
So where do we go from here? Big picture, I mean.
Mm.
Are the 49ers in trouble, or is it too early to hit the panic button?
It's definitely too soon for panic, just one game in, remember? But this game, it did bring some things to the surface.
Expose some vulnerabilities, maybe?
Yeah, tendencies they'll need to address if they want to be in the championship conversation.
You learn more from a loss than a win, or so they say.
That's the hope anyway.
If you had to pick one big takeaway for the 49ers, what would it be? After all this analysis.
I'd say it's the realization that talent alone isn't enough.
They've definitely got the talent, yeah.
Right, but they need that consistency, that ability to execute under pressure, adapt on the fly. It's coaching, leadership, even a bit of self-awareness, you know?
It's like they've got all the ingredients for an amazing cake, but they forgot to turn the oven on.
Exactly. Potential doesn't bake itself.
So the question is, can they put it all together, overcome these hurdles, reach their full potential,
Hmm.
or are we going to see these same issues haunting them later in the season?
That's what makes this season so interesting. It's a real crossroads for them.
And for us fans, I guess. Well, there you have it, everyone. A deep dive into the 49ers' loss to the Cardinals. Red zone struggles, defensive woes, those coaching decisions, and of course the injuries. We covered it all.
It's been a fascinating discussion, and for me, I'm really curious to see how the 49ers respond. Early days still, but this is where we see what they're made of.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, next time you see the 49ers on that field, remember, it's about more than just the plays themselves. It's the mindset, the teamwork, the ability to perform under pressure.
Because how you react to a loss, that's what defines a team.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Keep those requests coming. We'll be back soon with another episode.